Welcome, my name is John, and I'm just here to discuss movies on the YT. And if you'd like to join that discussion, go ahead and smash that subscribe button and hit that notification bell as well. And today, I just felt like sharing my favorite Christmas movies with y'all. And I'm a big Christmas fanatic, so this was actually difficult for me to narrow down. And because of that, I've got a lot of honorable mentions that I'm going to rattle off. I don't want to spend too much time on them. And so let's get started. So first of all, I'm also including TV specials and comedy specials as well. And there's going to be a lot of classic comedies and classic Christmas movies omitted from this list. And that's not because I haven't seen them. It's because they just don't hit me the same way they seem to hit everyone else. For instance, with the exception of Vegas Vacation, I don't really find any of the vacation movies that funny. And if that prompts you to hit the dislike button, go ahead. It's not going to change my mind on those movies. I just don't find them very funny. But let's get started with the honorable mentions. We've got Christmas Cheers, which is the, I believe, lone Christmas episode of one of my all-time favorite sitcoms. We also got Abed's Uncontrollable Christmas, which is my number one favorite episode of Community. We have a Russell Peters Christmas as well. And if you're in the mood for horror, I'm not necessarily in the mood for horror when it comes to Christmas, but there are Christmas horror movies that I enjoy because I do think it provides a nice aesthetic for a horror movie. I'm just never really in the horror mood during the holidays, even though I pretty much am for the entire rest of the year. But we have a Christmas Horror Story, Krampus, and I'm even going to throw The Shining in there because it's a very winter movie that I do like watching kind of around the holiday season, but not necessarily during the holiday season, because it's a nice, very winter horror movie. And then a couple action movies and comic book movies. We've got Iron Man 3, which is more of a New Year's Eve movie in my opinion, but it's still the holiday season. And we have Batman Returns. And then one that's going to shock people that it's not on my top 10 list, that being Die Hard. It's a great movie. I have almost no flaws with it. It just doesn't connect with me the same way as a couple other action movies that have Christmas elements in them. And then rounding out my long list of honorable mentions, I'm a fanatic of Charles Dickens's A Christmas Carol. And there are a couple that did crack the top 10, but I'm also going to list a couple others that I really enjoy, that being Reginald Owens from 1938, the Alastair Sim version from 1951, as well as Mickey's A Christmas Carol and Bill Murray's Scrooged. So kicking off the top 10, I have Four Christmases. This is a rom-com starring Reese Witherspoon and Vince Vaughn. And they just kind of go on a journey. I believe they both have divorced parents, and they just kind of go on a journey between all these different Christmases. And I just kind of love the journey they go on. It provides a lot of funny moments for me, especially when you get into like Vince Vaughn's father's house and all the wrestling that takes place. I just really love this movie. And also, I do tend to forget that this is a Christmas movie, even though it's in the title. But for whatever reason, it's a movie I always love watching. But sometimes I forget about it, even though it is one of my favorite Christmas movies. And coming in at number 9 is a movie that I was introduced to this year, just a couple months ago for the first time. But it hit me so much, and I just absolutely loved it and adored it the first time I watched it. And it is a Christmas action movie, a Christmas spy thriller, that being On Her Majesty's Secret Service, the lone James Bond movie that stars George Lazenby. This is just a great movie. Now, I haven't seen all of the James Bond movies, as you can probably know why if you watched my review of this. But I just absolutely loved this movie when I first watched it. I just loved the character development between James Bond and the main Bond girl in this movie. And I just loved the action sequences. I thought were really well handled and well done, especially for the 60s. And I just absolutely, it's one of my favorite spy movies and one of my favorite Christmas movies now, even though I was just recently introduced to it. And coming in at number 8, I have Bah-Humduck, a Looney Tunes Christmas. Now, this is kind of a Christmas Carol adaptation, but it's more along the lines of Bill Murray's Scrooged, but with Looney Tunes characters, as you have a modern day, like, CEO being, rather than like the 1800s type of thing that you get with the traditional Scrooge story. But I love the Looney Tunes. I grew up watching Looney Tunes. I love them, and this is one of my favorite Looney Tunes stuff out there. And it's one of my favorite Christmas movies, Christmas specials. I try to watch it every year. Even though I'm in my 20s, I try to watch it every year still. And coming in at number 7, I have The Night Before. Now, I'm a big fan of Seth Rogen, and a lot of my favorite comedies of all time are Seth Rogen comedies, and this is one of my favorite Christmas movies as well. I just love the dynamic between Seth Rogen and Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Anthony Mackie in this movie, and I just love all the shenanigans that they go through. I get a kick out of all of the celebrity cameos, and Michael Shannon's drug dealer character. This is a movie that I love watching around Christmas. And then coming in at number 6, we have Tim Allen's The Santa Claus. Now, this is a movie that I have a ton of nostalgia for. I grew up watching all 3 of the Tim Allen Santa Claus movies. And this is probably my favorite. I don't know if it was my favorite growing up, but as of now, in retrospect, I think it's the best, and it is my favorite. It's the only one I think I rewatch every year. And I just love kind of how you get the transition with Tim Allen becoming Santa Claus over the course of the movie, and kind of the situations it puts him in. And I love the elves in this movie as well. And kicking off my top 5, I have the 2004 Hallmark musical, A Christmas Carol, the musical, starring Kelsey Grammer. Now, I'm a big Frasier fan, and I love seeing Kelsey Grammer in the role of Scrooge. I love seeing Frasier Crane in the role of Scrooge. And I'm also a musical fan, and I'm not a fan of the Albert Finney musical, Scrooge musical from 1970. I don't really like that one. But I think this one, I just love the songs. I find them so catchy, and I love watching this. I love seeing George Costanza as Jacob Marley, and that's probably my favorite song from this movie, the Link by Link. I just love that whole Jacob Marley scene in this movie, and just the movie in general. I have a lot of fun watching. And coming in at number 4, we have the most recent movie on this list, that being The Christmas Chronicles. Now, I think Kurt Russell is easily my favorite version of Santa Claus that I've ever seen, at least. I absolutely love the charisma he brings to the role in things like that jailhouse scene and everything. And even the main storyline in this movie and the point of life I was in at the time this movie came out, and like the death of a parent and everything. It's just a storyline that really resonated with me at the time that it was released, and I watch it every year. I even defend the elves in terms of the design. The CGI is not the best, but in terms of their design, I do defend it. I like how it's different from just having humans with prosthetic makeup on. And now we're in the top 3, and coming in at number 3 is a movie I try to watch every single Christmas Eve, at least since it's been out. And it's not really a movie. It's kind of a comedy or variety special from Netflix, that being A Very Murray Christmas. I don't know what it is about this variety special, but I absolutely love and adore it. I love just seeing Bill Murray go through these situations and all the celebrity cameos that come in with Maya Rudolph, Chris Rock, Amy Poehler, Tina Fey, George Clooney, Miley Cyrus. I just love seeing this whole special. I have a blast watching it every Christmas Eve. And I mean, I don't know. I'm probably the only person that would put it this high on their Christmas movies / specials list, but I don't care. I love watching it. And coming in at number 2, I have Lethal Weapon. This is by far my favorite Christmas action movie. I've said it before, I love Mel Gibson. If it wasn't for some off-screen issues, he'd probably be my favorite actor. And I also love Danny Glover in this movie. And this is my favorite Lethal Weapon movie by far as well. And this is a movie, along with The Shining, that barely missed my top 5 that I said in my channel trailer. But this is a ranking about my favorite Christmas movies, and not just movies. So it's not necessarily based off of quality, it's based off of the movies I go to around Christmas time. And this did come in at number 2, so it's pretty high on that list. But I love this movie, and I do plan on having a video that's probably going to be more in-depth on this movie later on, fairly soon. And so let's move on to number 1. I have 2009's A Christmas Carol starring Jim Carrey. This is my favorite adaptation of A Christmas Carol. I just love the visual aesthetic. I think works for this movie. Even though some people seem to find it creepy. I don't know why. It's a cartoon. But I think it kind of works, especially with the design of Scrooge. I think works. It makes him look like an unlikable miser. And I just so I will defend the animation style in this movie. And I just love, when you get to Christmas future and you have kind of that shadowy figure rather than just this big Grim Reaper thing. He's actually kind of more like a shadow. And there's just things with this movie that I absolutely love. And it's a movie I really try to watch every single year for Christmas. And it's easily my favorite Christmas Carol adaptation. It's my favorite. It's my go-to movie to watch on Christmas. And that is why it comes in at number 1. So thanks for watching this video. And like I said, this is a list of my go-to Christmas movies. It's not a list of the movies that I think are the best made or best quality Christmas movies. And go ahead and share your favorite Christmas movies in the comments down below. And if you think my Christmas movies all sucked, feel free to comment on why. And if you like this video, if you like me, go ahead and smash that thumbs up icon and smash that subscribe button and hit that notification bell as well to stay up to date on my videos. And I will return next time when I see you again.